Hi, my name is Bethany, and for the Chapter 13 mini lecture, I will be talking about the transfer of learning and why it is an important concept for motor learning. According to our book, the transfer of learning is, quote, the influence of previous experiences on performing a skill in a new context or on learning a new skill, end quote. The influence can be either negative, positive, or neutral. In other words, in order to be able to learn a new concept, we have to know the basics, therefore, or that way we can add to our knowledge. I like to think of it as if someone were to go climb a mountain. They simply cannot take off straight to the mountains and start climbing right away. They need to prepare themselves by obtaining proper materials such as climbing shoes, water, and other climbing gear. Before we can dive into complex topics, we must learn the foundational skills, or else we would be lost and unable to understand what is being presented in front of us. Since we have the transfer principle, we understand that it has helped us establish effective motor skills learning. It also has shown us that children can comprehend much more complicated skills during their process of motor development. Once they learn something, it is easier for them to advance that skill and move on to more complicated skills. From chapter 14, I will be talking about what an observer perceives from a skill demonstration of a motor skill and the procedures that researchers have used to arrive to this conclusion. To start off, we must take note that in order for someone to perceive a skill, they must see it rather than just looking at it. To be able to see something is to process what we are looking at, because we can look at anything, but just because we look at something doesn't mean we have fully processed it. When an observer perceives a skill, they perceive and use the invariant relative motions that characterize the movement patterns that are needed to perform the skill. The two types of procedures that have been used to verify this are the visual perception of motion and the investigation of the influence of demonstration on learning to perform a new complex skill. And that is all I have. Thank you so much for listening to my mini lectures.